Hello ladies, are you ready for some inspiration? Here's a cute card that I'm going to show you how to make today, and it uses some retired items. Join me as we make this card and we decorate the inside and the envelope. Okay, for our card today we're going to need the stamp set Love and Affection, and I have already pulled out the large flower, the small flower, the sentiment Sending a Smile Your Way, this little piece here, and these leaves. So I have those already mounted on blocks ready to go. We're going to be using Delightful Dijon, Cucumber Crush, and Watermelon Wonder. Since I'm focusing on retiring products, my first product that we're going to use that's retiring is the large polka dot embossing folder. I have a piece of Tip Top Taupe. I couldn't stop. I was going to say crushed curry, but it's nowhere near that. Oh boy, I was really off on that one. I'm also going to be using some of our twine. This is not retiring, thank heavens. And then I have a couple of scraps for the for some stamping. I'm going to stamp the large flower on this and the sentiment on this one. This one is going to be my tag, and then I have my card base, and my card base is 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sorry, got the wrong piece of paper. I want to use my scrap, and I'm going to stamp my large flower. Okay, right in the center. Then I'm going to use my Delightful Dijon, and I'm going to stamp that in the center of my flower. Now this I'm going to cut out. Now if you have more time and you want to, you can always color this flower in, but since it's going to be on a Tip Top Taupe, I don't think it's necessary. You could use our aqua painter and ink in the lid and paint the inside. I've got to go back and get a couple of spots that are not, see, it's not a nice curve, so check that out and go back and just kind of trim them, which I'm doing right now, to get a nice curve like this here. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. We are done with that. Now I'm going to create my tag. And for my tag, I'm going to stamp the smaller flower several times on my cardstock. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to stamp the inside of my flower, and I'm using the same inside on this one that I used on the large one. And then I have these that I created for one of my workshops when we used this card and we did some masking. So I think the longest thing is going to be figuring out how to put it on there. And I want the stem to go down into the flower, but I don't want it on the flower. So I just masked them, and I'm turning it. Oops, I need a piece of scrap paper. Wouldn't you know it? It's going to go off, and I don't want it on my mat, that's all. All right, so I have my flowers done, and save these because you can use them again. Okay, now that we have our tag done, it's time to create, well, we've got it stamped. We need to create the corner at the top. So I'm using my grid and I'm marking when it's, you know, like I'm using 1.5 blocks. And what I'm going to take and do is I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to cut from that corner up to the other corner, and this corner, to that corner. And as a hint, if you use a mechanical pencil, it erases really well. So keep that in mind. Get some mechanical pencils to use. Now I need to do my bow for the top, and I'm using a scrap for the first part, and I'm going to make a multiple loop bow. So what I've done is I've wrapped it around my finger. I'm going to take and I'm going to form a figure 8. I'm going to take my other twine, another piece of twine, and I'm going to tie the bow, or tie a knot. Sorry about that, guys here cutting my grass. Alright, make sure your bow is centered, and then tie this in another knot and cut your thread. Then what I'm going to take and do is I'm going to separate my bow out. I'm going to pull my ends down and separate my loops like so. And I'm going to take a glue dot. And I'm going to put a glue dot on here. Fold it up a little. And I'm going to put a glue, attach it to my tag like so. Okay, tag is done. Now I need to emboss my layer. I forgot to tell you, this is a piece of Tip Top Taupe, and it is 3 3/4 by 5. All right, so I've got my card. I folded it, used my embossing, my bone folder. I couldn't think, and gave me a nice crisp edge. Now I'm taking my tear and tape off, and I'm going to center this on my card and attach it. Okay, I'm going to use some dimensionals, and again I use half pieces, and I'm going to attach my tag. Okay, this is going to go down here in the corner, but I want some bling on here, and I don't want to use rhinestones, so I'm going to use my Wink of Stella. When your Wink of Stella is almost out, you can unscrew this, pop this little black thing out, and a whole piece of felt will come out, a long piece of felt. And you can see that there's still sparkles in there. Take some alcohol. I know a lot of people tell you to use water, but I prefer the alcohol because it dries faster. And drop a few drops down in there and put it back together. You can get lots more wear and use out of it. Okay, now that I've got my flower done, I'm going to take some more, and I'm going to be very careful where I place my this one could use one too, dimensionals. Okay, and this is still kind of wet. That's what I put water in mine, but I think the next time I do it, I'm going to use alcohol. And I'm going to attach my card like so. Okay, now we're ready to do our sentiment, and I'm going to use Tip Top Taupe, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on a scrap. I'm going to move it in some. All right, don't forget to leave it sit there so that your ink transfers. Then I'm going to use a decorative label, which is also retiring. And I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to give myself a decorative edge. And I'm centering it between the points, for lack of a better word. I don't know what it is. And I'm not certain where I'm going to put it, so I'm going to put on some dimensionals on the back, and I'll see where I'm going to put it. you know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Tip Top Taupe. And I don't have a sponge dauber here, so you know what? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take and I'm going to rub my edges on my pad. You get, it's harder to see, but there you can see it. See how it gives you some color around the edge? So it almost looks like another layer. And now I think I'm going to put it up here. And put that, and then I don't need this, after that I don't need this dimensional, so I'm going to yank it off. I know, I changed things midstream on you, sorry about that. Okay, now I'm going to take the backing off, and I'm going to add this to my card. There it is, finished. I hope I inspired you today.